I am a spark of God, igniting myself with a magnificent fire, consuming my old life, beliefs, and programs. I am Phoenix Rising. Let me read this. I'm going to read this two more times because this is a big one for us to take in sometimes. I am a spark of God, igniting myself with a magnificent fire, consuming my old life, beliefs, and programs. I am Phoenix Rising. One more time. I am a spark of God, igniting myself with a magnificent fire, consuming my old life, beliefs, and programs. I am Phoenix Rising. So for something that profound, I found that the best thing that I can do is just close my eyes and try not to understand the words, but feel into it and see how it feels to you. Because right away my mind has all these judgments, right? Oh my God, you're saying the G word. What do you mean by that? And so there's a lot of conditioning that goes in our mind. So we just all just take a deep breath. You've heard what I said 3 times. Don't need to hear it again, but you've already felt it. You've already felt into it. So just let that settle. What if you allow that completely as your being? And I sort of want to dig in a little bit deeper there because, it says a spark of God. So if you really look at that, there's more to it. And what sometimes we say is, yes, I'm a spark of God, and God loves me, and He's everything that I need, and I'm a spark of that. But what this is alluding to or pointing to is that you are. You always think of it like you're a finger of the hand of God. You can't get away from that fact. You can't get away from the fact that you and God, you are it and it is you, and you are expressing it through you. So a spark of God is another way of saying that the fire of God, you are the spark of you're that spark of fire that comes off of that ball of fire, if you will. So it's like there's so much love that needs to be expressed and then known itself, and it just comes out in 8 billion sparks. So you are not the one that is the physical person that is trying to believe that you are the spark. You're just the spark. Get used to it. And it says, igniting myself with a magnificent fire, consuming my old belief, my old life, and my programs. And what that means is, like, if you could imagine that you would just lay your arms out to your sides and say, enough resistance of this, that I'm separate from God, that I'm just this human being. You have a couple choices. You could keep on believing that you're separate and that you're just this little person that um, honors and respects God as a separate being, or you could go into this other way that says we're one. There's no way that we could be separate. There's no way that we could be other than. So imagine that if you completely embrace that, what life would be like if you completely just allowed it completely into your body and allowed that kind of love, that kind of realization consume all of your old stuff that was brought on through traumas and conditioning and all those things and all the beliefs and the programs that were all created from all that you allow that just to completely burn away. I sometimes wonder about this, like when I'm doing healing work, is there's always this question about um, if I'm one with God, if I'm a divine being manifested from God as a spark of that, do I really need healing? So there's a good question there. Do I really need healing, or can I just let it all fall away? Well, I know that for myself, if I could let it all fall away, I would. But there's beliefs wrapped up in that. There's childhood wrapped up in that. There's conditioning. There's the density of the world, there's the whole social structure that is all kind of holding all that up. So for me to just completely let it all go, that's a big one. And I know that for people that are spiritual teachers and gurus and enlightened beings, they also there's also some amount of egoic nature in there as well too. Most of them. So to just kind of let it all go and allow yourself to you're kind of you're missing the juiciness and the emotion and the grit of life. And I guess that's why part of the reason why, me and other people have kind of said yes to this experience is, I'm ready, I'm looking at diving into this reality. Like if you're getting ready to put your quarter in the slot to start your video game, you're getting ready to go in, you know that that video game is not going to do anything to you. It's going to give you the experience of a video game, but it's not going to do anything to you. But you're going to experience all the goings on and all the adventure in that video game, no matter how, if it's very complex video game with um, life issues and sexual issues and friendship issues and all these things that make up this life video game, that you would just dive in. You would say, I know I can't be hurt here. I can't, I'm never going to be born into the video game and never going to die from the video game. I'm just always going to be. So I think I had the thought, maybe you did too, of let's just go. Let's just go together. Let's just dive into this. So that's what I think about when I think about the igniting myself with a magnificent fire, consuming my old life beliefs and programs, that all the things that I learned in the video game were all part of the game, but I have the option to just allow it to just consume me and allow me just to move closer and closer to that which is permanent, that conscious awareness, loving awareness, complete love. So, again, just a light topic. So, how about we just let that set for a minute? This whole idea, and let your mind relax on the idea, because I know that the question comes up, how do I live my life? Well, you live your life, but you live it from a different perspective. And what I've seen in my life that has happened is there's a whole lot less drama, very little negativity. And I have to say that pretty much every day is an awesome day. And when I wasn't in this completely joined in with God as one being having the experience, it was a difficult thing because there was always this question of why is this happening to me? Why does God allow this kind of thing? But now that I'm kind of merged into that, then it's a whole different experience. And again, it just comes back to how convenient, shifting your perspective. So take another breath with me. I know that was a lot, so just allow that to settle. And the only thing that you need to do right now or could choose to do is feel into your heart and how that feels. And if it feels expansive, that's a good direction. If you try and feel to it and you get some questions and you get some mind activity, that's probably not going to be a direction that really serves you and that leads to expansion. You are here to expand creation. So that's the way that I've kind of that's been my navigation system, is that something that expands me, I do my best to lean in that, go right straight into that direction. Things that cause me to contract, I start to think that maybe that's my mind that's trying to keep me small. So another deep breath. All right. So let's see here. So I have these cards. These are called Lose Yourself in Love cards, and these are cards that I created some years ago. I was living in a self-realization fellowship community, um, based on Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings. and a lot of time for meditation and a lot of epiphanies and downloads were coming through at this one particular time. And it took me about 5 years to make these up, but I made them up. And I have to say, they're pretty cool little cards. So what I like to do is just hand them to somebody and just have them just flip through them like this and just fan the cards. And then wherever they stop, that'll be your card. So I'm going to ask myself, what's the thing that I really want to know that my higher self or my soul is giving back to me? What does it want? What does it want me, the character Daniel, to know right now? Dun, 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 dun. Ah, change your position. How has your current stance served you? It may be time to break the pattern and try a new position. And your affirmation is it is safe to be flexible and open to other possibilities. How has your current stance served you? It may be time to break the pattern and try a new position. Well, that's a really good card, and it kind of fits in with what we're doing right now, this shifting perspectives thing. So think about how you feel about the world, how you feel about politics and religion and sexuality and everything that you've held, that this is your identity, this is who I am, and this is, and even those ideas, those positions about yourself. I'm not really good at that, or I'm terrible at this, or like for me, it would be like I can't do too many things at one time, or I get overwhelmed. That's one thing recently that I've needed to really look at. Is it really that I get overwhelmed, or is it something specific? And it really helped me to get really specific on it so that I could just shift my position. And something that the ancient Toltec wisdom would say is that anytime that you want to create something more magical in your life, you need to kind of shift the energy around things. So, like you might have it where, I get up every morning and I go to the bathroom, I blow my nose, there's certain things that I do. I turn on the coffee maker or something. And I remember living with this guy. He was helping me right after my divorce, and he rented me a room, and I was so thankful for that. And day after day, I noticed that there was a certain pattern with him that he would get up every morning at the same exact time, and then he would start his breakfast, which he had the same exact breakfast every morning, and you could smell the onions and the eggs and the bacon, and he would cook that up. And then he would get his breakfast, and he would go into his TV room, and he would watch like Fox News every morning. And then I think he took a shower after that. But he had this, and this kind of thing. And so what they're talking about is that maybe take your shower first, maybe eat your breakfast last, or do something to shift energy, because we are energetic beings in an energetic environment. So it really serves us to kind of, shift that energy, mix up that energy a little bit so that we can start to freshen up and get that energy unstagnated. Unstagnated, is that a word? So create it so it's not stagnant anymore, so that it's a fresh energy. So just a little thought about that. That's how we kind of shift our perspective and come from a different angle. Any questions? All right, so let me just tune in here. We got about 2 more minutes. See what else. No, I think I want to read that one more time. I am a spark of God, igniting myself with a magnificent fire, consuming my old life beliefs and programs. So I kind of have like a rhetorical question here that I want to ask you and myself. If you ignite yourself with a magnificent fire and you consume all of your old life and beliefs and programs, and you become a clearer channel for God to express itself, that you do whatever it takes, meaning releasing any thoughts or programs or beliefs or limitations that keep you as a separate being than God, how could it hurt? How could it hurt to completely let yourself experience that and to know that? And something that my good friend Linda helped me to experience when she realized that the consciousness that I was mostly practicing was a really good consciousness. But then she invited me and she said, Daniel, I want you to experience God consciousness. Why don't you experience that? And I kind of had a little moment, I said, oh, I don't know. Why don't I do that? And then, the thoughts came in is that I'm not qualified. Like I haven't done enough work, or I haven't taught enough classes, or I haven't seen the world more, or I don't know what, that I haven't had an awakening again, or something that was in the way of that. And I thought about that, is that could that be the reason, is only that my belief keeps me from that? Could it be that I'm already that? And then in this experience, in this body, in order to have this experience, I kind of limit that, or I'm in the illusion that I'm not that. So kind of had some tears about it. And I said, I think I will. And so right then, after the tears, I just closed my eyes and I just imagined myself in God consciousness. It's something that you can do right now. So let's do that right now. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath. And now just imagine the eyes of God. Imagine how God's eyes would see everything. Imagine that God being the creator of all, and as everything and nothing all at the same time, that there's no room for good and bad and left and right and wrong and communist and Republican and Democrat and all those different distinctions. It is all God. So it's everything that God sees itself. So imagine that you could, excuse me, God, let me get in there. Let me use your eyes for a minute. And you get in there and you look through God's eyes. Now look at the world. Look at Trump. Look at this place, this frequency called United States of America. Look at the frequency called China, Africa, Japan, Mexico. And any judgment or any labeling that comes up that starts to wiggle its way in there, let it go and just allow it to be a frequency. Just allow it to be an energy. Allow it to be an expression of love. Can you feel that in your heart? It wants to go there so bad that if you allow every single thing, person, idea as an expression of creator, an expression of love, and all the different wrappings of judgment and labeling and categorizing, let those just fall away. Let it just be. Now you just did it. You just experienced God consciousness. You experience what it must seem like, what it is through God's eyes. And don't get trapped in it. These are physical eyes. These are just eyes of perception. What an amazing, amazing way to look at the world. Now look at your life. Look at your life through God's eyes. It just blows my mind and opens my heart even further to think that there's a perspective, a perception that takes in all perceptions and all perspectives, that can look at my life in every single way. So you can do that anytime you want. Just imagine. I like to imagine that there are these um, oval eyes, these really gentle eyes, and They're kind of out there, a couple feet in front of me. You can open your eyes now, and they're a couple feet in front of me, and I just, imagine that God is there like this, looking at the world, and they go, "Hey, God, can I get in there? You mind if I have this dance?" And I move God away just for a moment, and she goes, "Go ahead, sit in my chair." And I just take on the goggles, I take on the eyes, and it's all energy, it's all love. What a wonderful way, what a wonderful thing to practice. Don't worry, you're not going to upset anyone. You're not going to upset God. You're not going to be, it's not a blasphemous thing to do. It's just something that we get to do. And if you can imagine it, then it's true. If you can imagine something like this that's so expansive and feels so good, then it's a great practice. So thank you so much. I'm going to end it here. I went a couple minutes over. I'm sure you don't mind. I love you. Thank you. Bless you. Have a wonderful day.